Hey there, guys. It's just Kate here from Secret Bloggers Business, and welcome to this week's SBB Live. And today I wanted to answer a question that I've been asked a few times recently in my online communities, and that is really around what is it that you should be expecting your site to do? What things should you be trying to find third-party plugins to do? And basically, how much stuff should you be trying to cram into one website? Is it a good idea? Is it possibly dangerous? Are you making your site slower? Are you making your site less secure? Are you basically setting yourself up for a massive fall? Or on the flip side, are you just spending a whole ton of money with all these different programs and actually making things way more complicated than it needs to be? So I'm going to answer all of those questions. I'm going to go through my ideal setup, what is working for me, what I do, some of the lessons I've learned along the way. And if you have any questions about this stuff, feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll answer them as we go. But let's jump straight on in. Everyone who's joined us live, hey, how you going? Hope you're having a wicked day. Say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're from. I always love to see who's on there with me. I'll just have a, thank you for the hearts. Quick drink and we can jump straight in. So as I was saying, today is all around helping you to have the best tech available without spending the crazy amount of money. So it's finding that really nice sweet spot for getting everything that you need, all the functions that you need, having everything work as easy and as well as possible, without it being crazy expensive, and without it, actually kind of creating this like Frankenstein's monster, which is going to be really unstable and almost a bit dangerous later on. So the first thing that people tend to do when they're coming into this situation, oh, sorry, it's just gotten very dark, the clouds, is I've been waiting for like a sunny part of the day to do this because obviously, you want the nice natural light for the videos and Melbourne is not cooperating today. So we'll just have to get a little bit like moody and whatnot over here. Oh, hey, Venetia, how you going? So anyway, first thing I see most people do, and this is for more people who are using WordPress because obviously WordPress is the most flexible platform out there at the moment, and it has so many themes and so many plugins that everyone gets really overexcited and they go, right, I'm going to just make my blog, make my one WordPress install do everything. It's going to be the all singing, all dancing, it's going to capture my opt-ins. It's going to have my online store. It's going to run an online course. It's going to do my blog. It's going to have really great share plugins. It's going to have pop-ups. It's going to have all this stuff. And the problem is when you set it up like that is the more of these things that you kind of try and shove into a single WordPress install, a few things can happen. Firstly, it will slow it down, usually quite a lot. But the more important thing is that the more like little moving bits you have, hey Brooke, how you going? The more chance that one of these moving parts is going to pick a fight basically with one of the other ones. And this normally comes when there are updates. So for example, I'm sure as you guys know, if you use WordPress comes out with updates. Some of them are more mandatory than others, and you can update your WordPress and then all of a sudden something's broken, or you update your theme and something doesn't work, or you update a plugin and something doesn't work, because basically there are so many different combinations that you could have of plugins and themes and hosting environments and all this stuff that it's really easy for, for some of these to clash. And for something that did work previously, with one small update, all of a sudden it could set something off that breaks everything else. So the more moving pieces, the more puzzle pieces you have, the more complicated it is, the more likely it is that you're then going to have problems down the track. And that's not good. You don't want to be spending most of your time trying to fix something, trying to replace plugins, whatever it is, rather than spending it on doing the stuff that's actually going to grow your business. And I know that I've done this as well. And it can get expensive. Like I don't even want to think about the amount of A, time I've spent trying to fix something myself, and then B, when I just haven't been able to, the amount of money I've spent paying developers to fix something. And it's all because I had a WordPress site with just way too many plugins and whatnot. So that tends to be where people go to start with. And the reason, and it's totally understand why, it's like you've got this one thing, you're paying for one install, you don't want to be paying for too many multiple different bits and pieces. But in the long run, it can actually end up costing you a lot more. Like imagine if your site was down for a few weeks and you had to pay a couple $100, if not thousands of dollars to get it back. because you've made it so complicated. So quite often this is the kind of the journey that people go on. They get started, they get a WordPress site, they ram it full of absolutely every possible piece of functionality that they could ever dream of, and then they start to have these problems where it's, it's either crashing or it's slowing right down. So then what happens? Then people start going, all right, so what about, what do we do next? So now, okay, we'll try and take some of that functionality and we'll put it somewhere else. And that could be, for example, like a third-party platform. Like maybe you're going to start using something like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels to do like your sales pages or your opt-in pages or things like that. So it's going to taking that bit and taking away. Or maybe you're going to use Shopify rather than WooCommerce. So all of a sudden you've got that online store over here. And then, and all of a sudden the next thing that people do is they tend to kind of go to the far other extreme. And then you end up with like all of these different third-party platforms and services that all need to kind of connect and integrate with each other. And then you create this other set of problems where you're having to use like If This and That or Zapier to connect your email service to your Lead Pages to then make people sign up for your course, which is over here, and using Teachable and blah, blah, blah. And then that becomes another mess and another nightmare, and also can end up being quite expensive because quite often each of these different things has, it'll be $50 a month, or even if it's only $10 a month, like all those things kind of add up. So then people then kind of come, this one, they normally come to me and go, all right, well, what do I do? I don't want to be spending hundreds of dollars a month on this horrible, really complicated thing that I've created. What are kind of like the best practice or the best tools, or what things can be on site and what can be off site? And so I wanted to share with you guys what it is that I've been doing, and it's like a process I've been doing since the start of this year, and it's working really well. And that is that I've started to break things up a bit, and I'll tell you how I've broken up and the tools that I'm using. So first things first, your blog site. So your main site that has your blog post, has your homepage, it's what people, when they Google your name, it's what they find. It has a couple of functions, and pretty much everything else you can just disregard. Like if it's doing much more than this, then you probably want to look at those things and put them somewhere else. So the main functions of this is obviously you want it to look great. You want it to get people on your email list. You want it to be really fast to load and really easy to navigate. And it needs to be obviously mobile responsive as well, which is the responsibility of your theme. So that's all you want it to do. So the plugins you're going to need, you're obviously going to need some kind of security plugin. WordFence or something like that is great. You want to need a like Yoast or another SEO plugin, so people are going to be able to find you on Google. And then you need a opt-in plugin, and then like a social share plugin, like Social Warfare or something. But not much more than that. Like if you're trying to shove in more than that, then that's probably where you're going to start getting into the danger zone. So with that, and if you've got a theme that is a builder theme, then you can be creating your own landing pages and things like that. But again, I probably wouldn't do them here. I want you to keep your blog site just your blog site. I want it to be nice and simple. I want it to be as fast as possible and with as little chance of crashing as possible. So that's option A. Then normally, depending on who you're hosted with, they'll quite often give you the option of having another install. So I know SiteGround, for only an extra couple of dollars, will let you have multiple installs. So extra couple of dollars a month. And then what you can do is you create subdomains. So those subdomains, and I would actually recommend you probably don't want too many, because again, it's finding that balance. If you've got 3 different WordPress installs, then you're going to be needing to do 3 different lots of updates and all that kind of jazz, which again can cause problems. So it's that not going too far off to the splitting things up and coming back a little bit. But if you're doing anything like if you have an online store or if you're running e-courses, I would suggest that is on a separate domain. And the reason you can do this is you can pick a slightly different theme if you want, one that's going to be more tailored for either being a learning environment or an online store environment. And again, you then don't need all those other bits. Like if someone's logging in to your online course, you don't need to have an opt-in thing. You don't really want a social sharing thing either, because they're going to be sharing stuff that's behind a login gate. So you can again keep it really simple. For this one, you just want it to be really secure. Again, you want it to be as fast as possible so people have a good learning experience, but then there's probably some nice little things you want to add in for your learning environment. So maybe you want to have badges or rewards or points or whatever. So again, you can, if you're going to have an online store or a learning environment of any kind, I'd recommend that would be separate. And that can either be separate on WordPress, or it can be something, like I said, like Shopify for an online store, or it can be something like Teachable or Thinkific for your online courses. For me personally, I've gone with the WordPress option for my courses because I like to have a bit more flexibility, a bit more customization, but that's totally up to you. So now you've got 2 environments, and that's pretty good. There's normally a third one though that I recommend. And this third one is where you're going to house your opt-ins, your landing pages, your sales pages, all that kind of stuff, because again, those require normally a slightly different set of tools to just your blog and just your, like as I said, your online store or your e-commerce environment. And you don't want to be having too many of those tools all at once. So if you're going to be doing any kind of opt-ins, if you're going to be running challenges, if you're going to be selling products, then you need this third environment. And this third environment is up to you. You can either have it as, you got a couple of options and they all have their pros and cons. For me personally, I'm running mine on Showit. Showit is around about $30 a month, and it's a fab page builder. You can also have it integrate with your WordPress, but I haven't bothered with that. So I've got a subdomain set up. My subdomain is yay.secretbloggersbusiness.com, and that is where I house my sales pages, where I house my opt-in pages. And another reason why that I have them in these 3 different places is because if one thing goes down, everything else is still running. So for example, if one site got hacked, or if, there was like the third-party service, whatever it is you're using, went down, or something happened, that's only one thing that's gone down, not everything. So maybe your blog's down for a couple of days, but that's not the end of the world because your opt-in pages and sales pages are still fine, still running. Your course is still fine. People can still access it. And, and vice versa. It's way less problematic. So that's my solution, is to have you want to have 3, no more than 3, and you probably want to have at least one of those as third-party hosted, but up to you. But don't get it more complicated than that. If you're looking at how you've got your stuff set up and you're thinking, gosh, where do I start? Like everything's all in one place. I just start small. I think what is the main thing that you're promoting right now? What is the main thing you're doing? Or what is the thing that's taking up the most extra plugins that you don't really need? And then think, okay, hey, how can we move those off? So if anyone's got any questions, a couple of questions have come through. So Brooke said, is there a way to have a domain name with just.com and not pay for them? No, you have to. All domain names are paid. So many plugins and hosts and domains with fees for each, it becomes so expensive to just write about stuff you're passionate about. Yes, absolutely. There's great ones out there which aren't like, I love SiteGround for hosting. It's really inexpensive. And if you're just doing, so I think that's the other thing. If you're a pure hobby blogger, you're blogging because you love it, just because you want to share your brilliance and your excitement and your skills and stuff with the world, and you're not actually looking to monetize, then again, yes, you will have a, monthly kind of cost behind that, but all hobbies do. Like just think about it. If you're a dancer, you'd have dance classes and dance shoes. If you were a runner, you'd be paying for event fees and skins and crazy electrolyte drinks and stuff like that. So just know that it's cool. It's your hobby. All hobbies cost money. Set yourself a budget and stick to it. But there are some really good ones out there that, can give you a really good experience for what you need. Because if it's just creating connection and stuff that you're looking to do, then you don't need these crazy expensive things. What you need to do is something that works and that's reliable and that, lets you do and say what you want to say. And the rest of it is probably just a bit of a shiny object syndrome, might just be distracting for the sake of distractions. So I hope that answers your question, Brooke. Oh yeah, Brooke says, very true. I never thought about it that way. Yeah, all hobbies cost money. So yeah, you just set yourself a budget and then don't stress. But yeah, that's it, guys. So just to recap, point 1 is trying to overload a WordPress install is never a good idea. So avoid that when you can. Also, trying to diversify too much and have too many crazy tools that are all talking to each other and integrating and going through Zaps and API this and webhook that is also not a great idea. The more steps, obviously, you add, the more places things can break and break down, and the harder it is to find when you've done it. So my recommendation is that for everyone needs, well, if you've got any kind of, if you're a business blogger or you're blogging for business, then having 3 online, little online homes, little online spaces is probably the best way to go. One that is just your blog, because then you can keep it super simple. You can only have the absolute bare minimum plugins that you need for SEO, security, speed. You can make sure it runs nice and fast. Google will love you. Your readers will love you. So keep that simple. Then if you've got any kind of e-commerce, so whether it's an online store or whether it's an online learning platform, have that as its own separate thing. So again, because it will need its very own set of tools, its very own set of functionality, and a lot of that they doesn't need, like you don't need SEO stuff on an online learning environment because it's all behind a light gate. Google can't find it anyway. And then the third one is to have your sales pages, like the pretty pages, like your opt-in pages, challenge pages, all that stuff somewhere else again. Preferably somewhere that you can send nice little pretty short links, but that's another thing altogether. I'll explain that at another time. But this will, having these 3 different places, which only are really, really good at the one things that they're doing, and they're set up just to do those things, well, it'll save you heaps of money. It'll save you heaps of stress. It'll make it everything run a lot smoother. It gets away a lot of the complicatedness that is so easy to add with when you find out about all these crazy online tools and stuff that you can have. And yeah, it'll just make your life and your blogging and your online business run so much better. So if you guys have liked this SBB Live, I'd love it if you could share it with any other bloggers or online business owners that you know who you think might need help with sorting out their online mess. Or give us a thumbs up or a heart so that, you know, the good old Facebook algorithm knows that our content's rad and we'll share it with other people. And of course, if you want to find out more about the tools that I love, there is a link above which is sharing my top 56 tools. I tried to sit down and write my top 10 and I just couldn't stop at 10. So it's top 56 tools for everything from growing your email list to growing your social media to running your blogging to selling stuff online. There's all the ones that I absolutely adore are in there. So as the link is up there, which you can click in and read that. I'd grab yourself a cup of tea if you're going to, because as I said, there is 56 of them. It's quite a long read. But yeah, I hope you guys have liked this. If you've got any questions, let me know and I'll try and answer them in a future SBB Live. But otherwise, guys, have an awesome day. Happy blogging and I'll see you all soon. Bye.